Ah, Ferdinand. I hadn't realized you'd returned to the palace.
Yes, here I am. Not that I have official business like you.
Then why come such a long way? Ah, I see. You're here to visit your father.
I am ashamed to say this was my first time seeing him in his cell. My father insisted I stay away for my own safety. Though I must confess, the dungeon was not the horrid place I had imagined it to be. I was envisioning, you know, fiery hot pokers, spikes, that manner of thing.
Oh. Then it may interest you to know that we do actually have such a dungeon. I've only seen it once myself. It's further down from where we're keeping the former Duke. It's a dismal place. One where rats scurry to and fro.
Rats? I do not imagine Father would cope well with that at all. While he did look haggard, it sounds as though his treatment could be far, far worse.
We're doing our best to keep him in good health. The rest will depend on his frame of mind.
Well, you will hear no complaints from me. I care only that he is kept alive and given a fair trial, and that his punishment fits the crime, of course.
You'd better speed things along then, because Hubert is quickly losing patience.
A fact of which I am very well aware. The problem is that I remain unable to connect my father to many of the acts he is accused of.
Perhaps you're wasting your time. A noble as powerful as your father could easily have documents forged and witnesses bought off. Any records that remain will be considered far too dubious to prove guilt or innocence.
Another fact I am very much aware of. In truth, I already found proof some time ago. Proof of his corruption, that is. I discovered it while looking through his tax records. When I realized what he had done, I was ready to serve him up to the authorities myself.
Your own father? I'm surprised to hear you say that.
I mean it. I thought I could carefully build a solid case against him while studying at the academy. However, you had him clapped in irons before I could have my case organized. Now there is a bit of comedy. I idolized my father ever since I was a child. Yet I had to push those feelings aside in order to muster the anger to punish him. Now I find myself trapped between both of those emotions with no resolution in sight.
I see. And tell me, is that the end of your story? I thought you were going to become Prime Minister, keep me in line, surpass me even.
Oh, well, I did not mean...
You can still share words with your father and see him punished for his crimes, you know. So, if you desire resolution, start resolving matters. It's never too late. You're in better spirits than I expected. You look at least 2 shades less pale than you did after the battle at Fort Mercius.
Oh, but your majesty does enjoy telling it like it is. Would it be the end of you to show a little compassion? No. Then you would just be pitying me. I do not know which is worse. Regardless, I am well. Thank you for noticing. Ask of me what you will, and I shall see it done.
I don't need anything from you, Ferdinand. Or at least not in that way. Just give me your usual effort, and that should be enough to get us through the upcoming battle.
You can count on me. Point me at a foe, and I will dispatch them with all haste. I I cannot afford to die now, or my page in the history books will end in a most horrid fashion. Plagued by the guilt of striking down his father, Ferdinand welcomed the cold embrace of death on the battlefield. Or some such hogwash. Yes, I killed my father, and I would be a liar if I said it did not wound me nearly beyond reckoning. But I will not hate myself for it. It was the correct choice. I did the right thing.
Well, don't feel too bad. Imagine what they would write about me if we lose this war. Despite her futile attempts to wrest power from the Prime Minister, the Emperor's people turned against her and her life ended in abject failure. The end. I know exactly what the world would say of me, which is why I have no intention of losing.
I will not permit such a thing to happen. If ever my life were to be weighed against yours, I would gladly perish in ignominy if it meant keeping you alive and well. What? Did I say something amusing?
No, it's just... You're so strong, so proud. If all the world's nobles were like you, there would be no need to dismantle the aristocracy. That's all. I know it's a futile thought.
Nothing is futile. Though even I must admit it seems to be so, given the circumstances. Still, you vastly underestimate the potential of the aristocracy. For generations, our ancestors worked hand in hand, sharing knowledge and wisdom to administer our great land and ensure it was well protected. They acquired knowledge of the region and developed good policies to rule it. And in doing so, they earned the trust of the people. We cannot throw away everything they have built. It would be folly.
Of course not. What do you take me for? I'm dismantling the aristocracy, not their legacy. The common folk will take up the torch and carry on.
Do you believe they are ready? No matter how gifted they may be, they are only commoners. In order to replace the nobility, they need to be educated. Wait a moment. I see your plan now. You intend to establish a school. One that is not merely for nobles and wealthy merchant children, like the Officers' Academy once was. A school where anyone can enroll, regardless of wealth or standing, and get an education rivaling that of any noble.
Ferdinand? I cannot begin to guess where that idea sprung from, but this is exactly why I need you beside me as we shape the future of Adrestia.
You mean to say that you did not actually... So I was... Well, it is nice to be needed.